So the first thing that I was thinking of, and I'll play the audience here, is that, as soon as I heard custody battle, of course, we all thought, okay, that's what it's about. But then my immediate next jump was the biological father. It's got to be the guy who wants custody of the kid, because that's what I always assume it's the biological mother against the biological father. And if one of them winds up dead, you look at the other one. And so it's bizarre in this case. So when I heard the arrest, I automatically assumed the biological father was going to be one of the ones in custody. But is there no...
Bobby, I thought the same way. I think initially I thought this is going to be the father that killed the baby's mother, because they're not married. That's a term we use. But it turns out that the witness, and you always pray for a good witness, and that's part of the victimology. But the witness happens to be the 16-year-old daughter of Cole Earl Twombly and Cora Twombly. So their daughter, they came home after the dirty deed was done, and they asked her to clean out the Chevy. Right. Something went terribly wrong with Veronica, but you'll never see Veronica again. And she said, well, what about the other lady, Kelly? She goes, well, she was too friendly with Veronica, so she had to go too. Something of that matter. That's not a perfect quote. And then she says, well, where are their bodies? Down a well? She goes, something like that. So there's like premeditation that these two, and God's misfits. My God. Yeah.
Having such what seemingly casual conversation with a 16-year-old about murdering two people in cold blood is amazing. And clearly, when I think the bodies were found about 8 miles from where their vehicle was found.
Yes.
They were transported probably in that car. So there's probably physical forensic evidence in that car, no matter how good a job the 16-year-old did of cleaning it up. Hopefully the authorities have gotten those vehicles now and done a forensic examination of the inside of those vehicles, which would, tie them to the deaths and tie them to the vehicle, obviously, if it's their vehicle. So yeah, it's amazing. And just like the roommate in Idaho deserves all the credit, this 16-year-old girl deserves all the credit in the world for being brave enough to step forward and say, this is just not right.
What we had thought earlier on, before we knew all of this stuff, when they released the probable cause affidavit, was we were thinking that one of these 4 outstanding citizens was going to flip, and like, who was the weak link? And right away, Professor Mike picked out Cora Twombly.
Yeah,
she's going to flip because she'll be the weak link. Now it turns out maybe none of them. It's their daughter that told the police. Well, the daughter even knew about the burner phones. She goes, oh yeah, my mom and dad were walking around with these new phones. They were charging them on their nightstand. I'm like, oh my God.
Billy, I bet you a paycheck and I lost a paycheck on that prediction of mine. Thank goodness for that 16-year-old. And I'm glad I lost my paycheck, because could you just imagine the dynamics within that family? When I was 16, I could not imagine my father or mother telling me, oh yeah, don't worry about the next door neighbor or the bully in school. We took care of it for you, kid. By the way, clean the blood out in the back of the car. Like, what planet do these people, live on? It's just remarkable that this sort of stuff goes on. And the idea, as you said, Bobby, that it was said so casually without and spontaneously to a daughter, your own child, and it really then goes to the mindset, the cold-blooded, premeditated mindset, and that there's no passion or anything like that involved. This was nothing but a plan they had executed, and they had nothing against this lady at all themselves. The Twombleys, they had nothing against these poor ladies, and yet they managed to do this and talk about it in a manner that's very cavaliering and casual. That shocks the conscience. That really does. That will not go over well.
Well, Mike, you're 100% right. It's like me saying, Bobby and Mike, what are you doing tonight? I gotta kill somebody.
Right. Hey,
Here's
Yeah.
the burner phone. Here you got one. You know,
right.
just wear dark clothing and maybe have some sunglasses and stuff. Like what? Like when you think of this, well, the God's misfits. Yeah, they're misfits, absolutely. But what made them think they could get away with this? And then the thing about the anvil, it reminds me of the coyote. The thing in that.
Wiley Coyote.
Yeah, they wanted to throw an anvil through her windshield. Where did that come from?
Yeah, and I don't think that all four of them are going to wind up going to trial. I think that some of them will cave. One or more of them will cave. We'll be hopefully looking at the death penalty or certainly life without parole, and will make a deal on the others. And who knows?